22 days before the wedding, the girl accidentally found a marriage certificate hidden in her fiancé's drawer. Turns out, he and his childhood sweetheart had already gotten married overseas. She didn't scream or confront him. Her heart just went cold. This was the man she had spent $500 million on, just to make him head of the Shen family. She didn't want him anymore, but she would get every penny back with interest. After more than 10 days of planning, she hired a film crew 1 week before the wedding. Using a surprise wedding video as an excuse, she brought their friends and family to catch Shen Ziheng and Xu Ziqin in the dressing room. Now she led everyone straight upstairs to the walk-in closet and smiled as she said, "Let's start with the wedding dress Ziheng and I designed together." "Thanks, everyone." The door opened, and with her back to the room, she was still explaining details to the team. But then the air suddenly froze. She turned around, pretending to be confused. "What's wrong?" Then her eyes widened, and she staggered back in disbelief. Finally, she could openly show her disgust, staring hard at the man Xu Ziqin was clinging to. She stepped aside, and everyone outside instantly saw the shameful scene inside. When Xu Ziqin saw all those familiar faces, she let out a piercing scream and hid behind Shen Ziheng. She grabbed the wedding dress off the floor to cover herself. The shock in the girl's eyes wasn't fake. She thought Xu Ziqin would at most confess and hug him, not throw herself at him naked. When Shen Ziheng met the girl's icy stare, all the color drained from his face. His lips moved, but he couldn't say a word. Then her eyes fell on the wedding dress. The already damaged neckline, covered in pearl and rose lace, had been pulled completely out of shape by Xu Ziqin. The dress was ruined, and she, the bride, had seen it with her own eyes. Shen Ziheng's lips trembled. His mind was a mess, like he was burning 1 second and falling into ice the next. He spoke in a hoarse voice. "Jingqi, it's not what it looks like. Nothing happened between us." But the accident had come too suddenly. The girl's eyes were cold. "Shen Ziheng, you disgust me." She didn't bother with Xu Ziqin and aimed everything straight at the man. If Shen Ziheng hadn't allowed it, Xu Ziqin could never have entered his house, let alone ruined her wedding dress. The security footage showed Xu Ziqin entering the wedding house with the passcode. That code was the date of her parents' death, the turning point of her life, and the sign that she had accepted Shen Ziheng. And he had just given it to Xu Ziqin. Those words made Shen Ziheng, who was already unsteady, sway hard. Behind the crowd, Xu Ziqin's parents saw their daughter doing something so shameless in the groom's house, and their minds went blank. Xu's mother froze for a long moment before rushing over to grab the clothes in the corner and put them on her daughter. Every move was panicked and clumsy. In the chaos, she tore several pearls off the dress. Shen Ziheng snapped, "Don't touch Qingqi's wedding dress." At this point, Shen Ziheng knew if he didn't make a choice now, he and the girl were done for good. He couldn't accept that the beautiful future he had dreamed of was ending like this. He glanced around, and everyone's face was filled with shock, convinced he had cheated. But that wasn't the truth at all. Shen Ziheng reached out to grab her, but she dodged him in disgust. "Jingqi, I'm not dirty." He anxiously explained everything, even mentioning the camera in the walk-in closet. "Yes, there's a camera inside, it can prove it." It was like he had found a lifeline, and he spoke extremely fast. "Once you watch the footage, you'll know I had no idea." She threw herself at me, and I pushed her away right away. "Qingqi, you'll believe me, right?" Facing Shen Ziheng's hopeful eyes, the girl quietly shook her head. "There's no camera in the walk-in closet." Shen Ziheng looked lost. How could there not be? She crushed his last hope. The cameras were for thieves. The closet is where people change. Why would I put a camera there? "Shen Ziheng, you keep saying she's just the girl next door. Who lets the girl next door wear his fiancé's wedding dress?" "I told you before, if you really liked Xu Ziqin, I would have let you two be together. Why sneak around like this? Now look how embarrassing this is." Her final sentence completely shattered Shen Ziheng's hope. He raised his voice, desperately defending himself. "I don't like her. I never have, Qingqi. The only person I've ever loved is you. Please believe me, just this once." The girl hid the coldness in her eyes and turned so the camera could catch her tears. Then she gave a bitter laugh. "I've believed you so many times, but you and your dear Zixin keep pushing my limits. How am I supposed to believe you two are innocent?" After putting on her clothes, Xu Ziqin got a little bolder, seeing Shen Ziheng beg the girl so humbly. All the resentment and frustration she had held in for years exploded at that moment. "Why are you treating Ziheng like this?" Xu Zixin's raised voice was full of blame, with arrogant anger and zero remorse. "You're the one who came between me and Ziheng. We grew up together. No one knows him better than I do. If it weren't for you, we would have ended up together long ago. The shameless one is you, you orphan." "Shut up!" Shen Ziheng's voice was full of disgust. "Who gave you the right to talk about her like that?" Shen Ziheng looked down at her with not a trace of love in his eyes. "Xu Ziqin, to me, you're just the girl next door. I have never liked you." "Impossible." Xu Zixin's eyes widened as she screamed. She didn't believe a word of it. He was willing to have a child with her, so how could he not like her? He must be saying this on purpose to force her to confess. Xu Zixin cried until her voice was raw and trembling. "Ziheng, how could you do this to me? Did you forget your promise to me?" "Shut up!" Shen Ziheng raised his voice again. He had already guessed what she was about to say, and he would not let that secret get out. His eyes turned cold, warning her to keep quiet. Seeing this, the girl had already guessed what Xu Zixin's so-called promise was. It was nothing more than their overseas marriage and the child. The more he didn't want her to say it, the more the girl wanted her to say it herself. She walked up to Xu Ziqin and looked down into her red, tear-filled eyes. Then she deliberately mocked her. "Whatever that promise was, it doesn't change the fact that you ruined someone else's relationship." Xu Ziqin immediately denied it. "I didn't." Shen Ziheng was in complete panic and quickly stepped forward, trying to grab the girl's hand. "Qingqi, we can close the door and talk this through. Today was just an accident. I can explain everything to you slowly." She gave him a look that said, "You're dirty. Don't touch me." Stung by her disgusted look, Shen Ziheng, usually so well-spoken, suddenly became a mess. "Nothing happened between us. If you hate that she touched my clothes, I'll have someone throw them all away tomorrow. Yes, all of them. We'll buy new ones. It's almost a new season anyway. We'll replace everything with the latest styles." Hearing the man she loved say something so heartless, Xu Ziqin completely broke down. The last bit of reason in her mind snapped. Xu Zixin screamed, Chu Qingqi, you're the other woman! He and I already got married overseas! The moment those words left her mouth, the entire room fell dead silent. The girl felt like her brain had been slammed by something heavy. Shen Ziheng glared at Xu Zixin with bloodshot eyes, every word squeezed through his teeth. How dare you say that out loud? His powerful hand grabbed her throat again. This time, Shen Ziheng truly wanted to kill her. With so many people here, how could Xu Zixin say it? Now that Qingqi knew, what was he supposed to do? Xu Zixin cried as she pulled at Shen Ziheng's hand and choked out, Ziheng! We're the real husband and wife. I was your first wife. Me, not that bitch Chu Qingqi. How could you treat me like this for her? How could you? I'm about to have our baby. That was the birthday gift you personally promised me. Did you forget that too? We can live happily as a family. Feeling the murderous rage around him grow stronger, Xu Zixin began shaking, her eyes full of fear. Seeing this, everyone rushed forward to stop him. Even Xu's father, who had been too furious to step in, ran over to stop the violence. But Shen Ziheng still wouldn't let go, until the girl's cold voice rang out behind him. Shen Ziheng, are you done acting? The girl took a stack of copies from the safe. One was their overseas marriage certificate, one was Xu Zixin's ovulation disorder diagnosis, and another was an IVF consent form from a private hospital overseas. She threw the thick stack of copies hard at Shen Ziheng. The pale pages and their sharp words instantly came into view.